You've been building up that investment in the secondary market, Mitchell. And I just want to understand how much of a weight you think US-China is on it.
Thanks, Caroline, for having me. And how much weight do I think it is? So for us, we actually, in our base case, assume that the U.S. we have assumed that the U.S. business would actually not account for anything, and we thought it would be banned. What you see Trump saying looks like it may head another way. You know, what people say and do in Washington on both sides are two very different things. Who knows? I think I can't imagine the first thing Donald Trump wants to do, though, is ban TikTok, especially when a lot of his big supporters, like an Elon Musk, who I think is, probably at odds with Mark Zuckerberg, who would be the one to benefit off of a TikTok ban, or like a Joe Rogan, who's a huge supporter on TikTok.
Right.
Look, I think it's pretty positive for TikTok to have Trump in office.
Meanwhile, Mark Zuckerberg, we understand, has been dining with Trump over in Mar-a-Lago last week, so maybe new music changes there. But I'm interested more broadly on, just spell out TikTok and how integral it is to broader ByteDance investment choices of yours.
Yeah, so the Chinese business, it's been rumored and reported in the press that the North American version of TikTok is a single-digit percentage of the business. It is not a giant part of the business. I think it is a part of the business where a lot of investors or potential investors in it see a huge amount of opportunity. I believe that TikTok is the biggest existential threat to a business like Facebook or Instagram inside Facebook or Snapchat. I mean, just go ask millennials in America what they use, or if your own kids, or just look at their usage patterns and look at the data around like daily active users and how much time is spent on all these different apps. And TikTok is a real player, but I can assure you, Mark Zuckerberg would love to have it banned. It would be great for his business.
But Mitchell, your expertise is so great on this show because you led or co-led some significant investments like ByteDance, but also like Alibaba. You're someone who understands the consumer of China, where technology is going there. How much harder has your life become to access these sorts of deals on secondary market, for example, to be long China investments?
It's not very popular at the moment, we'll put it that way. Although some of the greatest investors I know say if 99% of investors are doing, if you want to know where public markets are doing, ask the 10 smartest hedge fund investors, and when all of them tell you when 9 of them tell you one thing and one tells you the other, do what the one does and you'll probably make a lot of money. It is sure an out of consensus trade at the moment, buying China, but it is cheap. I mean, we can buy ByteDance, and we've been buying ByteDance at, sub 5 times earnings for a business, growing, much faster than Facebook. So we just think it's really cheap, and that the risk-adjusted reward is quite attractive. And in our base case model, we model the business at 0. Look, we might get lucky. Trump may not ban it.
Yeah.
He may, the Chinese economy may start to recover some. And on any stretch of the imagination, looking at public Chinese comps today in the internet space, if you look at Tencent or Alibaba or Ctrip, these things trade at, substantially higher multiples than 5 times earnings. So not only are we potentially going to get earnings growth, we're also going to get multiple expansion and when we exit. But I can't tell you when the company's going public, and I don't think nor can anybody else. But tailwinds, and whereas the U.S. political environment 6 months ago looked like it was going to be a huge headwind, it might become a tailwind. But time will tell.